My name is Judge Diane Shelley. I'm assigned to the Law Division. I hear jury trials, civil jury trials. I hear personal injury cases, legal and medical malpractice cases. I hear construction litigation cases, products liability cases. Any case where a person demands a jury and it involves money over $30,000, then those are the cases that I hear. Well, the volume of cases depends on the nature of the case. Some of the cases only take 2 to 3 days to resolve, and then other cases can take 3 to 4 weeks. So you never know if you're going to hear two cases or if you'll be with one case for an entire month. Well, the jury system is I call it democracy at its best because it's the people that actually make the decision. And for jury selection, what we have is just citizens that come into the courthouse unaware of where they're going to be assigned. When they enter my courtroom, they're told that a judge has requested that jurors be sent into the courtroom. My first goal is to make them to understand the importance of their role and also to relax them. I've been hearing jury trials now for about 5 years, and I do want to say that I'm always impressed by the dedication of the people and their willingness to participate in the jury system. Well, the first couple of minutes may be a little confusing for you because you will not be interacting with the judge. You'll be interacting with the sheriff and the clerk. And the sheriff and clerk are very important because they are assigning you. They are assigning you a seat. They're getting your cards in order. They're allowing you to get water, use the restrooms. And so it may seem a little chaotic, but there is order that's taking place because once you're settled in, then I come out on the bench. And that's when I explain to you the process. Jury selection is very interesting because it's a process where we realize that certain people will not be selected. It doesn't mean that you're a person that would not serve better in another courtroom, but you may not be selected for this particular trial for various reasons. The attorneys get to ask you questions, first the plaintiff, then the defendant, but most important, the judge also asks questions. Now, the law says that a jury cannot sit if they have pending litigation in Cook County. So maybe you will not be able to sit this time. Or maybe you're someone who has a job that directly impacts the issue or is related to the issue that's involved in this case, and you may not be selected. But if you're not there, if there's not a sufficient pool of people to choose from, then the process can't go forward. So I always tell my jurors, even though you may not have been selected, you've nonetheless contributed to the resolution of the case just by being here. Well, usually we begin at 9 o'clock in the morning, we have a lunch break, and we try to wrap up between 4:30 and 5. But like with every job, sometimes you run a little over, and sometimes you run a little under. Now, when you're assigned to a case, we cannot always guarantee the number of days you'll spend with us. But usually we can tell in advance that it's either going to be a 3 to 4 day trial or a 3 to 4 week trial. And we'd like for you to know that so you can arrange your personal affairs. We do not take you for granted. We understand that you are very important and that we are pulling you away from your life. So we want to give you enough notice so you can arrange your personal affairs, so you can pay attention to the trial. They don't make money, but we do cover your costs. Recently in Cook County, we have increased the fees that we pay, or the amounts that we pay to jurors. Years ago, it was just $17, but now, after the first day, you're given $50 per day and a lunch. And I always joke and say the lunches are not gourmet cuisine, but they are quite edible, and some of them are quite good, too. So you do have enough to cover your expenses, your parking, getting back and forth to and from the courthouse, and maybe a few dollars over. But it is designed so you will not take a loss in the process. I do want to add that your employer must cooperate with you in fulfilling your civic duty, and if you ever have any problem with that or with your employer, you should bring it to the attention of the judge. The witnesses are actually the most important part of the process outside of the jurors, because I want to add the jurors are the most important people in the courtroom. But the witnesses need to relax. That's the first thing. We understand coming into a courtroom, having attorneys look at you and 12 people stare at you as you approach the bench can be a little unnerving. So my first role is to make you understand that it's okay. I usually direct the witness into the witness box, and I ask the witness to make him or herself comfortable before the questioning began. I guess the most important thing I can do for a witness is to let them know that you're only required to answer the question, and you're only required to tell the truth. And if you answer the question and tell the truth, you can get through the process. The juror is so intricate to the process because they actually make the decision. Now, the judge is there to decide the issues of law. So issues of law is decided by the judge, but issues of fact are decided by the jury. For example, I decide whether or not a witness will testify, but the juror will decide whether or not to believe the witness. The juror will decide whether or not to rule in favor of the plaintiff or the defendant, and the juror will decide how much, if any, damages should be awarded. So I like to say jury selection or the jury process is democracy at its best because it's the people that actually make the decision. There are times when people become frustrated and they don't want to be part of the jury process. But if you don't participate, then it doesn't work. So I encourage everyone, when you receive that card in the mail, don't put it aside. See if you can rearrange your schedule. Become part of the democratic process. Sit on a jury. You'll never regret it.